The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for a mature audience. Please be aware of your surroundings. Audience discretion is advised. Watch out.
Late Night Legends Internet Podcast Radio Show. Welcome one, welcome all. My name is Frank Barrientos, United States of America. And I am here tonight with my co-hosts Charlie, Tim, Maria, and Ashley. And tonight, What a special show, because tonight is Ashley's very first night as a Late Night Legend. So we definitely want to welcome her.
Woo. Thank you.
What an appropriate time to start our show, because this is the very first show of the fall season. So that is really, really cool. We're going to be switching over from fireflies to falling leaves for our videos, which is going to be pretty exciting. And tonight, Charlie has a very cool topic whose name I hesitate to try to pronounce because I'm really bad at pronunciations.
Yeah.
Also, really quick, if you're noticing that our co-host Kay has gone, she's on a little bit of a time off leave, and we hope to have her back on shortly, but she may not be back for a month or two. So we'll see what happens there. And I think that's all I got for updates. Tim, Maria, got anything else do you want to talk about before we jump on in?
Nope.
All right. Very cool. Charlie, take it away.
Thank you. Okay. Well, yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking about Rajneeshpuram cult. And that's how I'm going to be pronouncing it. And I don't know if that's right, but you can deal with it. So we're going to explore how this charismatic Indian guru and his devoted followers built a sprawling city in the middle of nowhere, only to see it collapse under the weight of its own contradictions. We'll look at the cult and its philosophy and how it culminated in the biggest poisoning case in the United States history until the anthrax poisonings of 2001, and the largest criminal investigation in the state of Oregon. The story is, we were just talking about before the show. If you've seen the documentary Wild Wild Country on Netflix, is really good. Highly recommended. There is so much more information there than is going to be here. I'm going to try my best, but feel free to go look at that. And there's also a dramatized movie version called Sela on Amazon, so you can check that out. There is a lot to cover here. Yeah, I already got through that. Okay. So our story begins in India. In 1931, this man named Chandra Mohan Jain was born, better known as Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. And Bhagwan is a Sanskrit word that means sage or guru or wise man. He was a charismatic intellectual who developed a following by blending Eastern spirituality with Western psychology. He rejected traditional religious structures. He instead preached a philosophy of personal liberation, sexual freedom, and capitalist enterprise. Very interesting how he blended Eastern philosophy and still materialism. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. I wanted to make sure we got a lot of that covered. So we need to step back and look at the belief system that drew thousands of people to abandon their lives and follow Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. It wasn't a single rigid doctrine, but a constantly evolving blend of Eastern spirituality, Western psychotherapy, and a radical, controversial social philosophy. At the heart of his teaching was the goal of what he called Zorba the Buddha, or the new man. So if you guys know Zorba the Greek, he's this guy with a lust for life, wine, dance, and material goods and the world. And he mixed this with the Buddha, the transcendence of Eastern spirituality. He rejected the idea that you had to renounce the world to become enlightened. Instead, he preached, I am not against the world, I am all for it, but a transformed world for a new man, for a new humanity. This was incredibly appealing to Western seekers, people looking for a way out of their normal high-octane materialist life in the 70s and 80s. They were often disillusioned disillusioned with traditional religion, but still sought meaning. Rajneesh offered a path that didn't require giving up pleasure or success. In fact, he encouraged embracing it. So a little bit about the practices of what he was doing. He practiced this thing called dynamic meditation. This isn't about sitting silently like we kind of picture a guru meditating cross legs on a mountain somewhere, that kind of thing. This is an hour-long cathartic process that goes through 5 stages, usually accompanied by intense rhythmic music. If anybody here or in the chat has gone to a rave and you just dance to rhythmic music and you can't really, you kind of lose yourself. And I know, Frank, we've talked about before, we've kind of mentioned it, the concept of ego death.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time that's intertwined with drug use and psychedelics and theogens.
I'd also like to say that in the early 2000s, I like some EDM, and I had this song that I used to listen to. It's like a robot voice that would say "around the world" like 200 times in the song. I used to get
Daft
into
Punk,
that.
"Around the World," classic. So this is kind of that feeling of being at a dance, at a rave, but mixed with a meditation. And so the first stage, you would engage in chaotic breathing through the nose, fast and deep breathing, and that builds up your energy. And then there's a stage of explosion where you're encouraged to scream, jump, cry, and you just let go of all your repressed emotions. And it's really chaotic to watch. It looks insane. People are just losing their minds. After this, you jump up and down with your arms raised and you shout, "Who, who, who?" Which, I mean, it really is like a dance, like a rave kind of thing, or a club.
It's like, can we get a demonstration, please?
Yeah, a mosh pit.
Cryptic clip saying, "Oh, we moshing."
And so this apparently channels your energy upward. And then right as you're doing this, you freeze and exactly where you are, you don't move, and then you witness for 5 minutes. You just look at everybody around you. And then you continue to dance. And this kind of ritualistic, you're in this large group setting, you start to kind of lose your sense of self and you become one of the collective, and you're letting go of all these emotions that are holding you down.
Yeah, you're like in the hive mind, right? Like you're
Exactly.
It's like a state of
flock of
euphoria.
birds.
So you just imagine a bunch of in the 70s. So at this time, Bhagwan had this ashram, or sacred dwelling, settlement kind of thing, in Pune in India. And so people are coming from all over the world, Europeans, Australians, Americans, coming to India to meet him, to see him. And in the documentary, they say at one point, there's so many people, they're climbing over the walls, and they're just so excited to see him, experience this, and experience what he has to say. So alongside the meditation at the ashram, it became famous for therapy groups, which weren't like counseling sessions. These were intense encounter group style workshops with names called the Encounter Group and Mystic Rose, which again are designed to break down the ego, which is that false personality that society has imposed. Participants might engage in role-playing, confrontation, emotional release to peel back these layers. While many found them transformative, critics argued they could be psychologically damaging, breaking people down without providing adequate support. So, grain of salt, but here's a little bit of the social philosophy, kind of the beliefs that Bhagwan would talk about, or Rajneesh would talk about. He was fiercely critical of organized religion, calling it a mind control system that created guilt and obedience.
Okay.
He famously said, "Truth is not found in the scriptures. Truth is to be found in your innermost core." He didn't want followers who obeyed. He wanted companions who would understand and could talk back to him a little bit.
Man just wanted a friend.
It sounds like it.
He viewed traditional marriage as a form of bondage, a contract based on insecurity and jealousy.
Wow.
He advocated for what he called relating, fluid, honest, and conscious relationships without the constraints of a lifelong commitment. This philosophy, combined with the commune's open living, led to widespread speculation about free love. While sexual freedom was part of the environment, it was framed within the context of shedding repression and shedding jealousy. And then finally on capitalism, he taught spirituality, but he was a strong advocate of wealth creation. He called poverty a sin and encouraged his followers to be creatively rich. This is why the community that eventually started in Oregon, it was so business savvy. It had a lot of successful businesses, restaurants, and it was basically a commune that was run like a corporation. And a lot of these people that were coming to him, they weren't, lost people. These were professionals, lawyers, architects, engineers, that kind of thing. Central to everything was the figure of Bhagwan himself, which means the Blessed One. He presented himself as an enlightened master. His method of teaching was unique. After 1981, he entered a period of silent discourse where he would sit in front of his followers for hours, completely motionless, transmitting his enlightenment through energetic presence. Talking of psychic links,
I feel like the four of us are doing that right now while we're listening to you, Charlie.
But this created a really weird, a powerful dynamic. He preached individualism. His followers often projected their need for a perfect master onto him. He was the ultimate authority. This created the central paradox of Rajneeshpuram, a community built on the ideal of individual freedom that in practice became a hierarchy with an unquestioned leader at the top. He had 93 Rolls Royces that he collected. Yeah. And he explained them as a teaching tool to challenge his followers' attachment to both materialism, which they had learned in the Western world, and anti-materialism from Eastern teachings. He was trying to blend them together. I don't know if he really wanted that or if he was just wanted a Rolls Royce.
But a collection.
Yeah.
94 is too many. Just need 93.
Yeah.
You said 93, right?
93, yeah. And they
93.
were armored as well, so that he couldn't be, blown up or whatever. So the philosophy was a pretty potent mix. It offered personal liberation through intense emotional catharsis. It encouraged material success and rejected traditional social structures, all under the guidance of a charismatic, enlightened master. It was a recipe for creating incredibly devoted, energetic, and world-changing individuals. But as we now know, when mixed with isolation, paranoia, and political conflict in the Oregon desert, the same potent philosophy could also be a recipe for disaster.
I mean, yeah, it's already very contradicting of each other, so.
It was so strange. And listening to it, like Ashley and I were saying before the show, listening to him talk about it in the documentary, I'm like, oh, I'm in. Like, that sounds great.
I'm in.
Okay.
I get a Rolls Royce. Hell yeah.
But he was all about creativity. He's like, if you have a creative skill, do it. Don't give it up. Don't do it to boost your own ego, but do it because you can. And that to create is to be human. And that is the most human urge, which that really hit me.
I wonder at what point, if you're looking to participate in this thing, at what point are you like, okay, well, this is probably a cult? You know what I mean? Like, where's the breaking point? Do people realize that there is like...
The isolation, maybe? Is that what
you think so? I think when you're sitting in the room where you're staring at each other for hours, that might do it for me a little bit.
Yeah. Just watch somebody be still and silent for a extended period of time.
It's so creepy.
Odd.
Yeah. And looking at videos of it, because there are videos of it before he moved to Oregon, like when he was still in India, there's thousands of people. It's like a rock concert. And they do the dynamic meditation. They're all dancing. It looks like a rock concert. And then he comes out and he's just sitting there alone and everybody's like crying, losing their, they were just like.
Did he have like followers that like followed him to Oregon after he moved from India?
Yes. So that is kind of the key part is at the ashram in Pune, they were starting to run out of space. And that's what I meant when there's so many followers, they're just showing up, they're climbing over the walls to get in. And they needed more space, number one. And as we'll kind of get into later, the Indian government was not best pleased about what was going on. This guy was preaching against organized religion in this country or in that country, and he was also, they said he was avoiding taxes because the way the cult would the way the cult would kind of get money, people are paying to go to the ashram or to go to these meditation sessions or to go see Bhagwan. If you want to meet him individually, you're paying a lot or precious stones. Beyond that, there was kind of a scheme where people were loaning their money or loaning their life savings, loaning the proceeds of selling all their worldly possessions, loaning it to the cult, interest-free loan. So
you can get 93 Rolls Royces.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't know that it's a cult.
Well, they don't know. They're donating to the ashram. They're like, oh, well, we need food. Oh, we need this for the renovations. We need this. Yeah. Give us all your money. And if they knew that you were wealthy, they have these things called the beggar's feast. I think that was it. And they kind of just basically take you for all you got because they know you're rich. And then you get dinner out of it. And not to mention all these people who are there, they're working. It's free labor. They're showing up and it's like, okay, clean the bathrooms. And in the documentary, they talk to one woman and she says, I cleaned the bathrooms for a year. I used to be a nurse.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
But it's again, that kind of like letting go of your ego and who you thought you were. And that's how they've wrapped it up. And like, you're devoting yourself to Bhagwan, to the sannyasins, which is what they call themselves, or what he called them.
This also seemed like an escape too from the reality of what the state of the world's been in. So I feel like it's an escape for them to just get rid of all of that and not have to worry ever about anything else.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Or so they think. But yeah.
So they think, yes, exactly.
For what we think right now.
So by the 1970s, his ashram in Pune attracted thousands of Western seekers looking for enlightenment. Among them was a young Indian woman named Sila Patel, who would become Ma Anand Sila, Rajneesh's personal secretary and eventual second in command. Sila first met Rajneesh when she was just 16 years old and became utterly devoted to him. She was born in 1949 in India to a family that was among Bhagwan's earliest followers and a fairly wealthy family. She first met the guru when she was 16, and by her own account, it was transformative, immediate connection. This wasn't a passing phase, it was the foundation for her entire life, she says. So the very interesting thing about the Wild Wild Country documentary is that she's in it, and she talks a lot, and we get to hear a lot from her, which is pretty incredible because you'll find out why. But it's very pretty incredible. So her family sent her to the United States for her education. She attended Montclair State University in New Jersey. It immersed her directly in American culture and instilled in her a pragmatic, can-do business acumen. She learned how things works in the States, the systems, the bureaucracy, the entrepreneurial mindset. She reportedly worked as a nurse's aide at this time, getting a ground-level understanding of American life. This unique blend of spiritual devotion and American practicality would become her signature. While there, she married an American-born man, Mark Silverman, who would change his name. He would take this sanya, which is what they call going to the ashram, change his name to Swami Prem Chinmaya. It was a genuine partnership between two deeply committed disciples. After they graduated, they returned to India, drawn back to the epicenter of their spiritual lives, the ashram in Pune. Sila didn't start as the personal secretary. She and Chinmaya served their apprenticeship at the heart of the movement. They were given significant responsibilities at the ashram, which was rapidly becoming a global magnet for spiritual seekers. It was during this time that Mark died of Hodgkin's disease. He died at the Pune ashram. This personal loss is critical and often looked part of her story. She was a young widow, and her entire world was in the ashram, in this community. She devoted the rest of her life to the guru and stayed there until, well, we'll get there. So, yes.
No, go ahead. I'll tell you later.
Okay. So, in the first episode of this Wild Wild Country, they tell the story that there was the Bhagwan, he already had a personal secretary, and this is when they were looking for new land to expand, and so she was looking all around Europe and Southeast Asia and things, and Bhagwan came to Sila and said, "Where do you think we should go?" And Sila said, "Because they have freedom of religion, we should go to America, and I know America." So at that point, he just made her his personal secretary. And personal secretary, that's taking all the calls, all the correspondence that's going to Bhagwan. So while it's technically second in command to this guy, she's doing all the administrative work. So she's basically in charge of everything.
Sounds like
and Kay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Maybe this will happen to Kay. I don't know. Her sharp American business acumen had developed at Montclair, combined with her fierce, absolute devotion, made her indispensable. She was a whirlwind of energy, incredibly efficient, organized, and utterly fearless. As the ashram faced increasing pressure from Indian authorities, Bhagwan recognized in Sila the perfect instrument to execute the bold new plan to relocate the entire operation to the United States. Her understanding of both Indian spirituality and American capitalism made her uniquely qualified to navigate the immense task of building a city from scratch in the Oregon Desert. She's the ultimate insider with the ultimate outsider's skill set. This is what made the dream of the Rajneeshpuram possible, and what later fueled the paranoia and aggression that would lead to its downfall. By 1980, Rajneesh was facing increasing pressure from Indian authorities. The government accused his ashram of violating tax laws and other regulations. Rajneesh and Sila began looking for a new home where they could build their vision without interference. They settled on Oregon, and specifically Wasco County, Oregon, which is a pretty small population area. In 1981, they purchased the Big Muddy Ranch, $64,000 acre ranch near the small town of Antelope, which at the time the population was about 40 people. The price of the ranch was $5.75 million, which again, this is all money that's being loaned from the members of the community. Rajneesh himself arrived in Oregon on August 29th, 1981, and almost immediately, the quiet Oregon desert began to transform in ways nobody could have imagined. The scale and speed of construction of what they called the Rajneeshpuram was staggering. Within just a couple years, thousands of Rajneeshs, easily identified by wearing distinctive red or orange clothing, transformed this barren ranch into a city. Like a functioning city. They built roads, a dam, a reservoir, fire department, police force, restaurants, shopping mall, an airstrip capable of handling like large aircraft.
Airstrip? That's crazy.
Yeah. At its peak, they would have over 7,000 residents, making it suddenly the second largest population center in all of Eastern Oregon. So how do they afford to buy $64,000 acres? We already talked about this. It's money as spiritual offering, or the darshan. Attending Bhagwan's daily discourses and enrolling in the intensive therapy groups, all of it came with a price tag. They weren't called fees. It was framed as donations or necessary exchanges. But the money flowed upward. A significant source of income was the practice of darshan, where devotees would have brief personal audience with Bhagwan, often involving the gifting of a precious stone or significant monetary donation. And then, the beggar's banquet we talked about. This was a series of intense, high-pressure meetings where Sila and her inner circle, her closest advisors, would approach wealthy sannyasins These individuals were not simply asked for donations, they were effectively pressured to sign over their life savings, inheritances, and the proceeds from selling their homes and businesses. So, and then all this plus all this free labor, just people willing to work at doing anything to help. So when we picture a cult, we might imagine a homogenous group of lost souls, but one of the most remarkable aspects was the caliber of its members. This wasn't a community of unskilled followers, it was a brain trust. The ranks of the sannyasins included a stunning array of talent. There were architects, civil engineers, who designed the entire water, sewer, and electrical infrastructure for this city, essentially. There were lawyers who were fighting the commune's relentless legal battles against the state of Oregon. There were doctors and nurses, farmers and agricultural experts, chefs, accountants, pilots, business managers. Many were upper middle class people from Europe, Australia, and North America. They were the best and brightest who had just walked away from their promising careers and joined these cults.
Wait, you said that they were orange and red? Was that like all the time, or
all the time? So you'll see, again, if you watch the documentary or if you look it up, you'll see Sela. She's wearing like kind of a power suit, like a lady's pantsuit kind of thing, but it's like bright red with like an orange top. So all their clothes were dyed orange and red all the time. And
glad I didn't wear orange today.
Yeah, right?
We can put it in post, don't worry.
Yeah, you could just CGI that in.
Put a LUT on there.
So, where were we? Oh, yeah, right. So, like I said, Bhagwan celebrated material success and creativity, called poverty a sin. So these people were drawn to it, a kind of middle ground between Eastern philosophy and Western materialism. The key concept was surrender. Bhagwan taught that these skilled professionals who were still trapped by their egos, their work was done for personal achievement, recognition, and wealth. The ultimate spiritual practice then was to surrender that talent completely to the guru, to design a building not for your own portfolio, but as a selfless offering, to practice law not just to win the case and get the money, but to serve the commune. This is an incredibly powerful motivator. It allowed a person to use all their skills, but without the burden of ego. They weren't just building sewer systems, they were building the city of Zorba the Buddha, the new man, the new humanity. So, the purchase of the Big Money Ranch and its miraculous transformation was funded by the three-part system, and okay, we got that. So let me just run through again some of the facilities here on the ranch. There was a mall, which was a 2-story, 45,000 square foot shopping and community center with a restaurant, bakery, bookstore, clothing store, wellness center. They had a cafe called the Buddha Field Cafe, capable of serving thousands of meals a day. And the Zorba the Buddha restaurant, a smaller, more intimate dining option. Dozens of prefabricated and site-built dwellings, including single-family homes, A-frame cabins, and different residential neighborhoods like Buddhaville. Then they had like a large meditation hall called the Rajneesh Mandir. And they had a city hall where Sela worked with her inner circle to run the administrative task of running the whole city government, essentially. They had 4 large-scale computer-controlled greenhouses for year-round food production, extensive irrigated farmland, 3.5 million gallon water reservoir that they created by damming a creek, state-certified water treatment plant, a 40-cow dairy farm, a cannery and food processing plant, fire station, sewage treatment plant. It's kind of the same as the water treatment. Okay, whatever. The airport.
Gotta stay hydrated.
50 miles of paved roads, large bus depot. They had a whole fleet of buses that would drive people around. They had a medical clinic with a laboratory, pharmacy, dental office. The Jesus Grove Medical Center, which is a more secluded medical facility. Disco or nightclub. Electronics and computer center, printing press, and a watchtower and an armory, which might come up later.
Charlie, we got a question from our audience menu. We've got Blue Brat X is asking, Are the malls and restaurants open to people that are outside to funnel more money in, or was it just another method to harvest members' finances? I think that's a great question.
It is a great question. I don't really know how open this place was. I mean, maybe you could go in if they kind of thought you were going to be a prospective member. And as we'll kind of get to in a little bit, they weren't too shy about trying to recruit people. So maybe it was kind of like, hey, come on down to the ranch.
Spend your money and we'll give you some propaganda.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Come to a session. You'll like it.
Not like a game show host. Come on down.
Come
you get
on
a Rolls
down.
Royce.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of stores they had in that mall. Like,
that's a good question as well. Does it say
Painted
here?
Penguin, stuff like that. Gloria Jean's Coffee.
Yeah, it just says restaurant, bakery, bookstore, clothing store.
Panera.
Probably somewhere that sells a lot of orange clothes, I would
There's
guess.
a Five Below.
yeah, all the clothes is just orange and red.
So the people living here in the commune, Bhagwan would come out every morning in his Rolls Royce and drive through town, and everybody would come out and they would wave to him, and that was kind of the morning greeting, or they would, bow to him, that kind of thing. The Rajneeshis saw themselves as building a utopian community, what they called Zorba the Buddha. We've gone over this many times. But almost immediately they ran into conflict with their neighbors. The conservative residents of Antelope viewed the new arrivals with suspicion and alarm. They were disturbed by the Rajneeshis' open sexuality, their unusual practices, and their rapid acquisition of property. The Rajneeshis, in turn, saw the locals as narrow-minded and prejudiced. As one follower recounted, they felt the locals were rednecks who didn't understand their vision. This cultural clash would quickly escalate into something much more serious. The conflict between the Rajneeshis and the surrounding community quickly moved from distrust to outright hostility. When the locals tried to use zoning laws to restrict the growth of the Rajneeshpuram, the Rajneeshis fought back with sophisticated legal strategies. Like I said, they had a lot of lawyers on staff. In what might be seen as either political genius or outright aggression, the Rajneeshis began buying up property in Antelope itself, in the town that they were just outside. Soon, they outnumbered the original residents and effectively took over the town government, and they changed the town's name to Rajneesh from Antelope. But the most dramatic escalation came in 1984, when the Rajneeshis hatched an audacious plan to take political control of all of Wasco County. The strategy had two parts. First, they bust in thousands of homeless people from across the United States under what they called the Share a Home program. The idea was then to register these new arrivals to vote, swelling their electoral ranks. Hey, come here. We'll give you a home. You vote for us in the next election. Then the leadership's tactics shifted from legal defense and political maneuvering to something more sinister. Under the direction of Ma Anand Sila, the personal secretary, the commune transformed into a full-blown surveillance state. A sophisticated wiretapping operation was put in place, far exceeding simple security concerns. Microphones were hidden not just in public areas and administrative offices, but in private homes of key members, and most remarkably, even in Bhagwan's own living quarters. His conversations were recorded, which indicated that the paranoia had reached the highest levels, with Sila seeking to monitor even the man she claimed to serve. The purpose was to control, to know about dissent, to uncover potential disloyalty, and to gather information that could be used to manipulate anyone inside or outside the commune. And then, the first bioterror attack on American soil took place. The most widespread criminal act was the biological attack on the town of The Dalles. In September 1984, with the crucial county election approaching, the Rajneeshis, under Sila's direction, devised a plan to incapacitate voters who might oppose them. Followers with medical training, including Sila, under Sila's orders, cultivated cultures of Salmonella typhimurium. Typhimurium? Yeah, typhimurium. Salmonella. You know what that is.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Then in a coordinated effort, they set out to poison the local population. disciples traveled to the Dalles and contaminated salad bars, coffee creamer.
That's right. I remember this from when Kate mentioned it. Oh, did you guys
Maria, you remember
this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not the salads.
Yeah. You'll never eat a salad bar again.
You don't make friends with salad.
Salad bars, coffee creamer, and salad dressing in 10 different restaurants. The goal was to make enough people sick on election day that they would be unable to vote, allowing the Rajneesh-backed candidates to win. The result was the largest biological terrorism attack on U.S. soil prior to 2001 anthrax letters. 751 men, women, and children fell violently ill with food poisoning. 45 people were hospitalized, but miraculously no one died. But the attack caused widespread panic and baffled health authorities, who initially treated it as a strange, large-scale outbreak. Simultaneously, Sela and her closest aides began plotting against individuals they saw as existential threats. These were not idle threats, they were concrete plans. U.S. Attorney Charles Turner was leading a federal investigation into the commune at this time. The plot against him involved placing a bomb under his car seat. The device was actually constructed and tested by the commune's security force. Oregon Attorney General Dave Frohnmeyer was the state's lead attorney in the legal battle to revoke Rajneeshpuram's city status. The plan was to poison him with a substance slipped into his drink or food during a visit. Dr. Devaraj was Bhagwan's personal physician who was becoming suspicious of Sela's activities. Sela allegedly ordered his murder by lethal injection, a plot that was reportedly attempted but failed. And the Wasco County District Attorney, no name given, I don't know. He was also on the hit list, targeted for his role in the legal opposition. These plots revealed a leadership that was prepared to use lethal force to eliminate its enemies. The philosophy of creating a beautiful spiritual utopia had been completely inverted, replaced by a desperate and ruthless determination to preserve power at any cost. The very ideals the commune was founded on had been sacrificed, creating a chilling paradox. A community built on love and meditation was now being run like a crime syndicate, willing to poison and murder to survive. Yeah, okay, we did all this.
Wait, so did people die? Did I miss that?
Nobody died.
Okay.
Which is incredible. And that we'll kind of see that.
Was that their goal?
That was their goal.
Or like just to scare people?
Just to stop the voting.
I mean, for the salmonella, they wanted people to stay home. And they wouldn't vote. There was no vote by mail at that time. So yeah, they had all these homeless people that they shipped in as extra voters, and everybody else was going to stay home because they all had salmonella. And they win, I guess. Through all of this, would have been
safe because they didn't eat salad.
Yeah, and anybody not do salad? I still don't like salad bar. Or, I mean, I never did really, but
yeah, it just I don't know. I still feel hungry after a salad, so.
I mean, I love a good salad, but
it's hard to make a salad into a meal. I will say it is hard to make it into a meal.
Yeah, at a certain point,
I ordered
it's no
a salad
longer
at the Cheesecake Factory once. They brought out a wheelbarrow full of lettuce. It was a lot.
Iceberg.
Yeah, it was
That's
mostly
why.
iceberg.
It's mostly water.
It's mostly water. Do you know that the number one cause of food poisoning, foodborne illness, is cantaloupe left out, or melon?
I thought it was tomatoes because it's basically like a petri dish.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the same idea where
it's like the same.
They get room temperature and they allow bacteria to grow.
Yeah.
Gross. So through all of this plotting and scheming, Bhagwan remained largely silent. For 3.5 years, he spoke only through Sela, who had positioned herself as his interpreter and voice. This isolation allowed Sela to consolidate power, but also meant that Rajneesh was increasingly out of touch with everything that was happening. The tension eventually came to a head after the vote in September 1985, when Sela and her inner circle suddenly fled the commune for Europe. Just a couple days later, Rajneesh held a shocking press conference in which he accused Sela of numerous crimes, including the poisoning plot, wiretapping, and even attempted murder of his personal doctor, like we said. With Sela gone, the truth about Rajneeshpuram began to emerge rapidly. Law enforcement launched what would become the largest criminal investigation in Oregon history. Federal agents found the wiretapping equipment, the biological lab where the salmonella had been cultured, and even a hidden room under Seela's house. The scale of the deception and criminality was staggering. In October, Rajneesh himself was arrested as he attempted to flee the country. He was charged with immigration fraud related to sham marriages arranged to allow followers to stay in the country. In a plea deal, he agreed to leave the United States and never return. Seela and several of her lieutenants were eventually extradited from Europe and served time in federal prison. Seela herself was convicted on multiple charges and served 29 months before being released. So obviously, if somebody had died, it would have been a much longer sentence.
It's like a slap on the wrist, like
Yeah.
2 and a little years, yeah.
And you got to go pick up garbage in the park. Know what it's like.
And they let you out early on good behavior.
With its leaders gone,
you the Rolls Royce. You show up to the park to do your community service in your roles.
That's pretty funny.
Picking up trash in the Rolls Royce, yeah. With the leaders gone, the cult quickly collapsed. Followers drifted away, and the magnificent city they built was largely abandoned. Eventually, the property was sold, and today it operates as a Christian youth camp called the Washington Family Ranch. So the story continues to fascinate and baffle people decades later, but it's important to remember that behind the sensational headlines were real people whose lives were profoundly affected.
Behind the sensational hairline.
I mean, look at that. Look at that.
That should be the title of it.
Yeah.
Maria. This is very serious, okay? This is a very serious topic.
We're getting to the serious part, all right? Come on. All right, so particularly tragic are the stories of children who grew up in the commune. In recent years, survivors like Sarita Carroll have come forward with accounts of neglect and abuse that occurred under the guise of spiritual freedom. In her memoir, In the Shadow of Enlightenment, she describes how children were offered and separated from their parents and left to fend for themselves. She recounts being sexually abused by adult members of the community, all justified by the commune's ideology of sexual liberation. It also raises profound questions about the nature of spiritual authority and the potential for abuse when followers give unquestioning loyalty to a leader. Rajneesh himself remains a controversial figure. Was he an enlightened teacher or a cunning manipulator? Or somewhere in between. But it is clear that the story of the Rajneeshpuram serves as a powerful cautionary tale about what can happen when idealism curdles into fanaticism, and when the desire to create a better world leads people to commit terrible crimes. And that's pretty much all I got. Bhagwan died later on. So,
excellent.
By the way,
he was born in 1931, so it was going to happen.
1930 fun, am I right? Thank you, Charlie. You were just
We ate
talking
some bad salad.
It was like 40 minutes of talking. So if you need to take a breath or some water.
Well, I feel like the last one I didn't have a lot. So I wanted to over prepare. There's so much more. Like I said, really take a look at Wild Wild Country on Netflix. It is a fantastic documentary. There's so much more information here. But I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of the cult itself and then what happened. But it's just crazy. I just, the more I watched it or read into it, I'm just like, what?
There's so
I didn't really even get into
cults.
them that they're the security forces, they were amassing weapons. They had like an armory filled with guns, all kinds of rifles and things. So
I feel like maybe this is like a devil's advocate kind of thing, because like obviously there's like a lot of controversies when it comes to religions and stuff. And especially when someone's taking over like a home turf that they've kind of been this small town of like basically families that know one another, and coming in to kind of change their ideologies. Like, don't you think, because like they sort of retaliated first against them in a more negative way and a more violent way, kind of forced them to sort of be like, okay, we're not going to be peaceful anymore. So now we're going to retaliate back because we're going to fight fire with fire. And you think that started the corruption in this, or was it always corrupted?
that's a good question. I mean, there were also the governmental pressures in India. So I think there was already the kind of this sense that, hey, we're under attack and people outside of us don't want us around. Maybe I'm reading into that. That might not be true, but she was given this responsibility and given the responsibility of taking care of Bhagwan, and she kind of saw how everybody reacted. So maybe you're right that she felt attacked. It was a trauma response kind of thing. Possible.
No, because I also feel like it sounds like she was just driven by all this power that she had a little, and then it felt good, and then she started to go more and more, and just got scarier and tougher, and just it's almost like you don't even remember who Bhagwan was anymore. It was literally the Sela show, and she took over.
Told you, it sounds like Kay.
No. I'll defend you, Kay.
It's my first day.
Starting beef already. Wow. And that's kind of why I brought up that her husband, she had this emotional connection. She had this other thing going for her, and then they moved from they finished college, they moved back to the cult in India, and they make it kind of a big deal of this in that first episode. He died of Hodgkin's disease or Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Bhagwan kind of told her, no tears today, don't let him see you cry, kind of thing. And she then, from that moment on, kind of had to be tough. And then he said, you can grieve, but then it's about the work, put yourself into your work. So at that point, she was all in. Well, maybe she already was, but she was way, way all in after that point. So it was already heightened.
The power
emotion.
got to her head. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you tell someone that, and then you make them the head of your security forces and make them your second in command. And then you say, build me a city in Oregon, that's a lot on one person.
Mm-hmm.
Again, devil's advocate,
And he turned on her after, right?
Yeah,
after
he immediately
found out how she was just going bat crazy. He's just like,
just immediately he had a press conference and blamed everything on her. So,
do you think he had any influence in what decision she was making? Because, like you said, she put microphones. Did you say she put microphones in his place?
Yep.
To see if he's maybe like talking.
Yeah.
Talking trash.
She put microphones
maybe
everywhere.
Maybe he had that idea for her to do that, but then she did it to him as well without his knowledge, or.
Yeah, I don't know the extent that he even knew that there were any wiretapping. I mean, we can't know what we don't know. He's dead. We can't ask him. So
no,
that's not true, Charlie. I got a Ouija board right over here, man. I'll pull that shit out right now and ask him.
Well, I think that's for next week's episode. Psychic links, and you can
and seances.
I'm just kidding. I don't have a Ouija board, but that's always been the joke, right? Like, did you guys ever see that meme? It's like there's a new guy dating a girl, and her ex-boyfriend died, so he pulls out the Ouija board to ask if it's okay from the ex to smash. You guys ever hear that joke? Never mind.
No.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, Charlie.
I thought you were gonna ask the boyfriend, was it her? That's where I thought it was going.
No. You ask the dead ex if you can smash. That is the joke that was within some of the paranormal Reddit stuff, and it was really in bad taste, but it's kind of funny.
If a cult has orange, she'll be on the VIP list right away.
I don't look good in orange. That's the problem. I could never join this one. Can we do a cult that has a blue uniform?
Also red. Red was okay as well.
The hot colors are not good for my skin tone.
Okay.
I got a lot of orange.
I do too. So.
I knew it. I knew you guys were both part of the orange gang.
Sannyasins.
Yeah, I went to Boise State. They're blue and orange. It's kind of
Boise State?
Yeah.
I was going through a phase.
An orange and red face. You're like, all right.
Orange.
If it's a darker red, then maybe I'll join. But
oh no, it sounds so peaceful. Like no violence, no crime, free meals, free housing.
$3 square a day, roof over your head.
You get to rave every night. Like
there's a mall, you know, you can go to the mall, eat at the food court. There's a Sbarro there.
Multiple watering holes, apparently. So animals. It sounds very serene and calming.
Charlie, I meant to ask you this question. Did they allow like drugs, alcohol in this cult? Because some do, some don't. And I feel like they would allow maybe some drug use. But I was listening for that, but I don't know if I caught it from you.
I don't think I had anything specifically about that. I don't know. I can ask.
Let's find out.
I feel like that's what this cult was founded on.
Have you guys ever run into anybody that's like a cult in your lifetime? Anybody?
Like a cult?
Like a cult.
Cult-like person?
Cult. Have you ever like seen anybody that's in a cult? I have. We actually had a host who was coincidentally also named Ashley. She was on our show a couple years ago, and she was messing around with a cult whose name I'm not going to say, but you guys all know them. I'll put it in the chat. But it's a particular cult that likes to practice Dianetics. So she and a friend decided to fuck with them and went into their little building. And the whole point of how they recruit you there is they want to hook you up to this machine. And then you're supposed to give out like secrets, like your life secrets. And then that's what they end up doing from day one is they write down your secrets. They dig for more and more. And they say, oh, the machine says you have more to give. But they record that and then they use it as blackmail against you from day one. So you'll join the cult and then stay in the cult. And if you want to leave the cult, they try to blackmail with you.
Air your dirty laundry.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea of which cult this is.
Yeah, so we had our old host Ashley went into one of these buildings because they're in every major city, and with a friend, and her friend got booted out because they were just trolling, which I think is pretty ballsy with this particular cult. What you got, Charlie?
All right. Well, you've asked a very insightful question because although officially discouraged, both drug and alcohol use were present, leading to documented criminal activities and abuse. So, according to some Rajneeshis, MDMA was used in the commune, sometimes as part of therapy sessions. Evidence from the files indicates that the inner circle, including Osho himself, used nitrous oxide, laughing gas.
Laughing gas. That's what they say Kanye likes. No joke.
Former disciples and Indian authorities reported that currency and drug smuggling had dogged the Rajneesh movement since the late 70s. Wealthy drug dealers were welcomed into the community despite officials claiming ignorance of any illegal activities. And when they were bringing the homeless people as part of the voter fraud scheme, they would inject Haldol into their beer to control their behavior.
Wow.
Which is a tranquilizer. And then, there was some drinking, champagne and beer and stuff like that. But that's pretty wild. Didn't even know any parts of that part. Again, guys, there's so much to this. I didn't have time for everything. You can check out the documentary, and it's very good. And I do recommend
We're almost at the hour. But I was going to say, I know we all laughed about when I said Kanye likes the laughing gas, but that's actually a real thing. If you're someone who's followed Kanye West since his early part of his career, so true story, Kanye West and I share mutual friends because he's almost my age, and he went to my sister. I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and he went to the American Academy of Art. His whole album, The High School Dropout, or The College Dropout, is based on the American Academy of Art, where he wasn't good enough artistically to cut it there. However, there's somebody within his inner circle that blames his mental downfall on the fact that he was going to the dentist a lot, and it was because he was doing the laughing gas, and they say that that is his drug of choice, is he's always just doing that shit. It's a very serious theory. I don't know if it's true, but it's a serious thing. I could personally see it because that guy went off the deep end recently, man. Like the last couple of years, I don't know what's going on.
A few years, yeah.
Chad, drop in the comments your drug of choice. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know. I think offering drugs just sweetens the deal if you're going to join a cult. They offer some drugs too. Why not?
And probably was like another financial gain for them too. If they were making friends with these wealthier drug dealers and they knew that people were having freedom of their sexuality to participate,
So far, Charlie, you haven't given me anything really that's negative that I shouldn't join this cult. Really.
Yeah, like
don't threaten me with a good time.
If you're under the influence, they will like much more easily manipulate you. So
yeah, exactly.
You know,
3 square a day. You got
for that reason.
Drugs, Rolls Royce.
See, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's not like I was tempted.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
I knew where it was going, but I'm like,
yeah, it's definitely not a doomsday cult. It's kind of a kumbaya kind of cult. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like.
For the most, I mean, that's how it started out. I mean, it was just, the thing was that there were so many people so fast, and that, you know, he was born in 31. He started preaching in like the late 50s, early 60s. He kind of built up these followers over time. But once it kind of hit the mainstream, the counterculture and things like that, it just took off. And the kind of the post Flower Child era.
So he was 31. When I was 31, there'd be no chance I could ever do something like that. Charlie, how old are you? Aren't you around 31?
I'm 35 and
oh shit,
3 weeks.
I thought you were like 31 years old.
You always think I'm so. You said I was 27.
Well, like we got Maria over here. She's 19. She just turned 19 like a week and a half ago. Ashley, I have no idea. Tim is like 37. I'm
Thanks,
39.
Man. Appreciate that.
No problem, Tim. I gotta watch out for my boy. Hold on, real talk. Hold on, wait. Sorry, Ashley.
Yes.
Since you're just meeting the team, how old do you think Maria is?
I would say probably. I feel like you literally just said her age, but you said she was young. But I would say you probably. Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say probably like 22, 23.
Yeah.
Good. Am I correct?
No.
Okay.
But it's great.
I'll say when we're not live, I guess.
My theory here, you guys want to hear a conspiracy theory? I think Maria's a reverse vampire. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. She's not aging, dude. Let me tell you. I've seen everybody set up. I don't think she's got any mirrors in that house. It's probably because she doesn't have a reflection.
Probably got them covered up behind that tapestry over
there. I'm telling you. She's got them covered up.
Mm.
We got Boovin that says it's because he has an amazing hairline. That was awesome, Charlie. All right. Let's see. We're at 57. Do you want to do final thoughts, Charlie?
We should do some final thoughts, I feel
okay. So
is this still around asking for a friend?
So not in this particular place, and not really. Obviously, the Osho or Bhagwan, the main guy, is now dead. But some people still practice a dynamic meditation like that. It's fairly popular. Yeah. And I believe there are still sannyasins, people who believe or practice those beliefs. So yeah, in a way, I believe. Yeah.
We're going to go around. We'll come back to you, Charlie. So when we give final thoughts, Ashley, we kind of just go around the room one by one, and everybody just kind of says what they thought of the topic and, you know, what they would want to leave our listeners with. I always go last because I take us out, and then the person who presents the topic goes second to last. So that means we'll probably do Tim, then Maria, then you can go with a final thought, and then we'll do Charlie, and then I'll go. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. Tim, what you got for us?
Well, Charlie, you inspired me to watch the Netflix show, so I'm definitely going to watch that.
Yeah,
I recommend.
I'd be leery, I think, back then if I was approached for this, just because anything that sounds too good to be true usually is. You're telling me I don't have to work, I get a Rolls Royce, I don't have to get married, and I get sexual freedom. All these things sound like wins in my book. Yeah. So I'd probably be very leery of that. But I'd definitely look into it.
Why not? What do you got to lose? You got everything to gain.
I definitely wouldn't quit my job to go clean the bathrooms, but...
To be honest with you, though, Tim, like if you have a really crazy job that's stressful and stuff, like you're a social worker or something, maybe a simple job like cleaning bathrooms might not be such a bad sell. You know what I mean? Like some of the happiest people in the world are like garbage men. I don't know. Maybe that's just my perspective.
Could be. I just know it's not for me.
Maria, what you got?
I mean, if it had stayed the way that it started, it's intriguing. Except for the orange. I could do it with the red, but not orange.
That's the kicker. That's the kicker right there.
Yeah.
Again, you guys no one's mentioning the attempted murder. I don't understand.
No, nobody can.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, wait, that happened?
So listen, I think the tip that we
but
take
in
away
real
is,
talk, yeah.
Stay away from the salad. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that it went to that point and that, people had to basically, they went into this cult wanting a different life, and then it just all got ruined because of a couple people that just let it all go to their head. So that sucks. But no one died from the salad, so that's good.
Yeah, you're right. We
got a cryptic clip saying, "Oh right, the murder."
The murder.
All right, Ashley, give us your final thoughts on this one.
I don't know. It is definitely extremely wild. I think everything is basically like too good to be true, that it is extremely convincing to make me forget about the day-to-day life and all the stressors going on, that it's convincing. But nothing is more scarier than seeing a very intelligent, powerful, very well-spoken woman that people forgot practically who Bagua was and started worshiping this woman. So, and then she just went absolutely power hungry. And I think at that point, the whole retaliation and kind of backtracking on their beliefs makes me go, oh, so what really was this all about? Was this really meant to be this little inclusive spot? I feel like if she didn't take over, I feel like I would totally be on board, man.
There may not be a downside, Charlie, depending on how things would have played out.
Okay.
Well, you're up to bat there.
Yeah. Just briefly, on the Wikipedia for the Rajneesh movement, it does still exist in its own way. The Osho International Foundation in Pune runs stress management seminars for corporate clients such as IBM and BMW, with a reported revenue of between $15 and $45 million annually. And they've kind of evolved and changed, and it's under a different corporate structure. It's not just one guy and one, secretary in charge of everything. So it's a little different now, but yeah, the belief system still, prevails. It goes on without these people who did these things. And yeah, it is just, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And just, like I said, maybe just that that feeling of that you're attacked and you're in danger, and then you're given this means to do something really drastic about it. That can lead to very bad unintended circumstances. But I thought this was just an absolutely incredible story. It's so strange to think about. And the fact that, again, this documentary was so good and so many of the key players are still alive and we're willing to talk about it is really cool. So big recommend again. Yeah.
All right. I'll take it from here. We've got a really great comment that I need to read from Blues Brad X, who said, Charlie inadvertently becoming the best recruiter is quite a turn.
Yeah. Join on up. Get out there to India. Go check these guys out.
We got Movin saying that they're going to be emailing applications, which is great. I'm going to jump in and say this has been a really cool story. We got a little bit of a sample of this from Kay for last year's holiday special. We talked about this one just for a moment, but it was really cool to do a deeper dive and to kind of flesh out more of the details, because I know that for me, I think she mostly focused on like the salad part of it, because that's what triggered me to remember, because before that I'm like, I don't remember Kay talking about this stuff. But it's a great story. I think a lot of these cults have really great stories. I would really like to talk more about cults. I feel like it's one of the kind of underrepresented topics within what we do. So I would say for anybody watching or anyone listening, and Charlie's putting a link there in the chat. But if you're watching, if you're listening, if there's a very specific cult that you'd like us to cover or talk about, let us know in the comments, and we definitely would be willing to consider that. I know that we're all sort of shopping for future topics. I know that right now, I think for the most part, 2026 is wide open. So, if there's interest, we'll definitely cover it. But outside of that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you for letting your mom join the cult and kissing her goodbye, and you'll never see her again. And we'll see you all next week. Next week, We're going to be talking about psychic bonds and connections, and that one is going to be a little bit different. That one is my topic, and I plan to sort of have a little bit of participation. So if you're there for that one, hopefully that'll be good. And we'll see you then. Outside of that, we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.
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 Later.